Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. My name is Hazarina. I'm the chair of School of Graduate Study. Welcome to everyone to our session for today. Right. I would like to say thank you also to the hardworking committee from the Postgraduate Student Society of School of Computing and School of Azman Hashim International Business School who has successfully organized this event for today. Right. I think we are very, very fortunate today to have our dear Professor Dr. Rose Alinda Alias with us today to share her view and her thoughts on our topic that we have selected today, which is In Search of the Philosophy of a PhD Towards a Thinking Scholar. Welcome, Prof. Rose, to the session today. Right?
Hi, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Morning, Prof. Rose. I think everyone, before we proceed with the session, allow me to introduce you to our speaker for today, Prof. Rose Alinda. A little bit of biography from Prof. Rose, although I know, right, perhaps some of us who, I know Prof. Rose is very prolific in UTM. So, but let me just introduce Prof. Rose. In 3 minutes, Prof. Rose Alinda Alias is a professor of information system and management at Azman Hashim International Business School, University Technology Malaysia. Prof. Rose is also currently the head of Information and Service System Innovation Research Group in UTM, and she is also a Senior IT Associate Fellow at UTM Digital. Prof. Rose Alinda is the founder of Persatuan Sistem Maklumat Malaysia or MIS, and she is the President of Malaysia Chapter for the Association for Information System IS, right, where she was successfully conducted conference as the co-chair for the 21st Asia Pacific Conference of Information System PASIS in 2017 in Langkawi. She was recently selected to be one of the 8 members of the Global IS Standing Committee on Diversity and Inclusion. During her 5-year tenure as UTM Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic and International, 2012 until 2016, she was also the chairperson of Jawatan Kuasa Timbalan Naib Chancellor and Public University of Malaysia within 2014 until 2016. And she was also the member of STPM Standard Fixing Committee representing the Malaysian Examination Council. And in 2016, she was the council member of Malaysian Qualification Agency and was also the Dean of UTM Graduate School between 2017 until 2011, which she was elected as the chairperson of Malaysia Graduate School Dean Council in 2010 until 2011. Her previous administrative post includes Deputy Dean of Research for Research Management Center, UTM, Deputy Dean of Research and Graduate Study of University, Faculty of Computer Science and Information System back in 1998 until 2005. Prof. Rose Alinda was conferred a degree of Doctor of Philosophy in January 1998 from University of Salford, UK, and with her thesis entitled Multiple Perspective Exploration of Information System Quality in a Malaysian Context. Prof. Rose has graduated a total of 24 PhD students since 2002 and authored many publications and led numerous research and consultancy projects within her area and expertise. That is a brief biography of Prof. Rose Alinda, right? So we welcome Prof. Rose to today's session. And before we begin, let me brief a little bit about today's session. It will be a forum format, right? We have a series of questions that has been compiled and prepared for Prof. Rose. And after this session, we will have about 15 minutes question and answer session. To the audience, you are welcome to insert your questions in the chat room of our UTM SPS Facebook, and the organizing committee will pick up the questions and the question will appear in the screen, right? All right, Prof. Rose, shall we begin the session?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. Maybe we start with the title. All right. Perhaps Prof. Rose could elaborate. Why did you choose this title? Why did you choose this title for the talk? And what does it mean by in search of the philosophy of a PhD?
Okay. So when you read my bio data, it's actually the last part that is very meaningful to me, because I was involved in the graduate school ever since I became a deputy dean at the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Systems way back in 1998. Where we developed PhD programs, Doctor of Philosophy programs. So that means it's been over 32 years that I've actually personally been involved in graduating PhD students and actually developing PhD programs. So it irks me, and it somehow I get quite sensitive when comments are given about the quality of the PhD scholars that universities have been graduating. And the last straw was when there was a colleague of mine, I won't mention his name, but he actually wrote an article in the newspaper criticizing the PhD program and how the types of PhD graduates that our local universities have been graduating are not actually thinkers. And they do not actually understand and cannot and are not worthy of carrying the title of Doctor of Philosophy. So then comes the question of, do we understand what is a Doctor of Philosophy? Perhaps many years ago, when we began offering the PhD program in UTM, the only doctoral program that we had way back then was the Doctor of Philosophy. But even at that time, UTM actually began the program of engineering doctorate. And then we moved on into engineering education. And then over the years, many other doctoral programs came about in addition to the Doctor of Philosophy. So are there differences between these programs? And this is where I feel that we need to make not only the public, but also the industry, especially because they are receiving many of our graduates, and also the university, because initially graduates of a Doctor of Philosophy program are supposed to be in academia. But when we went on to develop these other programs, what we call professional doctorate programs, then there is a difference between a Doctor of Philosophy graduate versus a professional doctorate graduate. So, and we begin to see that the emphasis is more in terms of what the market wants, what the market needs, such that we lose sight of what we expect and require from a graduate who holds a Doctor of Philosophy, because we have forgotten that the initial word is actually philosophy. So many of the programs that we are currently offering has marginalized the philosophical components, the paradigms aspects of a study, of a body of knowledge, and emphasizes more on developing artifacts or developing products or developing solutions rather than understanding what the reasons behind it. So it's the thinking that we lack that perhaps has led to the criticisms being given about the PhD scholars. So I feel that it's high time for universities to relook at the programs, the PhD programs that it offer, relook at the curriculum, so that we no longer have this confusion of what is the expectation that we expect from a PhD graduate versus a professional doctorate graduate. So the emphasis of a PhD graduate is he must be a thinking PhD scholar. So the scholar is the important aspect, and the thinking is also critical, because we have to understand the initial word, the roots of PhD or Doctor of Philosophy came from the Greek word philosophia. So what does philosophia means? It's love of wisdom. And it is this exact love of wisdom which I think is missing amongst the graduates that we have producing and also nurturing. So we hope that by re-looking and by understanding and perhaps by having this dialogue of what is this philosophy of a PhD and what is a thinking PhD scholar versus a graduate of professional doctorate programs, then we will set the expectations right. So that's the reason why I chose this topic for the forum.
Okay, Prof. Ross, I think that's very pertinent and it's very current with the situation that we have now, with many people giving feedback. Are we manufacturing, right, graduate? But I think what I would like to start my question today, my second question, with a scenario on a book that I've read during my doctoral study, which is supposed to be about 20 years ago, perhaps. Okay, it's a book written by William Clark, and the title is Academic Charisma and the Origin of Research University. And what is interesting in this book is it particularly describes, right, the process of becoming a doctor of philosophy back in Europe about 600 years ago. And although the book says that at that time to become a doctor of philosophy, it was relatively perhaps easy, because what does it mean by having a doctor is you need to know whatever is inside the Bible, basically. So in order to graduate a doctorhood, you need to study the Bible, and you need to have spend a requisite amount of time to study them, and then later take place in a public process where a lot of people will gather, and basically you would dispute and come out with your own argument, right, about what is written in the Bible. So, and Clark, the author of the book, called it the knowledge juice, where students stood up in public and then they defended, right, the canon of knowledge against a series of unorthodox suggestions. And the suggestions usually come from the crowds of peers. And your supervisor would basically stood behind you and refuted its still logic. And seated around the crowd is basically all the scholars, the local nobles who would officially witness the event and decide whether you are worthy to become a doctor. So we can imagine the process is a thorough process where you need to do a lot of homework, and you must be successfully able to come up, defend, and come up with your own stand about areas that you have studied. So I would say at that point of time, 600 years ago, becoming a doctor used to be a thoroughly enfleshed amount affairs in which you demonstrate your scholarly capability in public as well as in person. So how do you see this scenario being applied in today's setting? Are there any weaknesses in the current system that has made the process become less rigorous, in your opinion, Prof. Rose?
Okay, it's very interesting that we actually have to go back, way back to the medieval period, ancient, how the process of a PhD actually began. So it's good that you brought up the example given in that book, because indeed that is what is called a disputation process. But indeed that is what we're going through now through the viva voce or the viva process that every PhD student fears. But the big difference that I see in many of the universities in conducting the PhD viva is that it's a private affair. It's no longer a public affair. You are put in a room, in a viva room. So even in UTM, we have viva room, and we can see that there are limited number of seats. But I know when I attended a viva in USM, there was a recording. So it was recorded to the next room. So indeed, the public was there, but it was not seen. The public was not seen by the candidate. And it's just the supervisor, the examiner, the chairperson, and the candidate. And yes, the candidate defends his thesis and argues for his thesis and answers the questions that is being given to him by the examiners. So this is where we see that it all depends on the examiners. who are the examiners that you're choosing for your viva, to examine your thesis, will examine you during the oral examination. So that's the written thesis, but that has been examined prior to the oral, and then there is the oral process of actually defending your thesis. So what you have described, Azarina, is actually the oral process that was done many hundreds of years ago. But it is the oral process that actually reveals the kind of scholar or potential scholar that the candidate is. And this includes actually being tested, because you don't know what are the questions that will be asked. You don't know where or which angle, and you have to be prepared to defend your thesis. But again, it's just up to the two examiners. Whereas in the old days, it is the whole public. And I know that my husband, Professor Hamdan, graduated from University of Manchester. So in Manchester University, the viva was actually done in a hall. And you have the whole audience listening to the process, but the questions still are being posed only by the examiners. So this actually makes it the standard that we set is the standard of expectation of the examiner rather than the general public. The public in the old days used to be the peers. If you read that book, the general public can ask any questions that they want, but the panel who decides on the award are the peers, those other doctors and the noble people who would be able to decide whether this person is worthy of the PhD. And that is where I think perhaps Hazarina, since you're the Dean of Graduate School now and in the Majlis Dekan Pengajian Siswaza, perhaps we can actually discuss with MQA making the PhD viva so private. We did once propose in the Senate to open up, to have a recording, and even that was received with vehemence. Many of the senators were very upset that we're allowing the viva to be open, to be recorded. So why the secrecy? Why are we so afraid to reveal this potential graduate that we will be carrying the institution name? So I would think that the big difference is in terms of how we treat the person and how we examine the person. And it is important that the person must be able to withstand any pressures, any questions that is forwarded. Undoubtedly, any PhD candidate will share, and I think those of us who have graduated also will share that the PhD process was extremely stressful and we have become very resilient as a result of the PhD process. But the more important thing is our mind. Are we actually thinkers? But it's not just thinkers who knows about that subject matter. What I'm more concerned about is the thinker who actually is very conscious of his soul. The thinker who is very much answerable to the society. The thinker who is very much has a very strong sense of responsibility to God, to society, to nature, to humanity. Such that any recommendations, because when you have a PhD and you carry the title doctor something, people look at you with respect and expect you to give recommendations to problems that are happening in whatever context. And this is where we get comments, negative comments about the type of scholars that we are graduating, because as if, for not all, but there are a few graduates who lack this quality of thinking, thinking with their heart. So it's not just the brain, but the brain is coupled with the heart, with the conscience. So this is where we need the scholarly, critical thinker. And as I've mentioned earlier, we have to relook at the process of graduating the student as well as examining the student.
Okay, Prof. Rose, I'm jotting few points. I think that is probably some of it are my homework for today.
Yeah, lots of homework for you after this session.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned about being resilient. One of the traits that being developed in a viva voce process is a stressful process, and I would say to most of us, it's a transformation process. Being in the
Yes.
session actually could transform us from what we are before we sit in the session, and we become totally a different person after the session.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more on that. It's true. It's a transformation experience. Okay. When you mentioned just now about characteristics, about traits of a PhD scholars, right? So can we say, well, I think towards the end you mentioned that when somebody holds a doctor title, there is a whole lot of expectation from a lot of people, publics, the industry, right, the academia. So can we equate somebody holding a doctor title as a full-fledged scholars? Can we say that? Is
Good.
that is that something that a bit too much of expectation? Because somebody would say, come on, it's a learning process. And there is also a school of thought saying that a doctor, it's a person that has learned and undergone doing a research process. So there could
Yes.
never be a perfect first time for everyone. So what's your comment on that, Prof. Rose? Over to
Yes,
you.
definitely. If you just graduated from a PhD, it does not make you an instant scholar. So there's no such thing as an instant scholar. Okay, I'll spend 3 years of my life and get a PhD and I'll be a scholar. Because the whole process is not only what you've gone through in the 3 years, is who you are, the baggage that you bring behind you, the experience that you have acquired behind you throughout the years. And it is a bit of a concern. We had a huge debate also in terms of, can we accept a student who's just graduated from a degree into a doctorate program? And then can that person actually fulfill the expectation of what we expect from a PhD scholar? So my response to that is that a PhD scholar, because the word scholar is a very big word, is a very heavy word that cannot be taken lightly. So I would say a PhD graduate versus a PhD scholar is very, very different. And I would like to go into the elements of what are the characteristics of a PhD scholar. I have, when I say a thinker, a thinking PhD scholar, we are trying to develop a PhD scholar, a scholarly critical thinker. Okay, critical thinking is a key word here. Okay. So, what is a critical thinker? Critical thinking in scholarship. Yeah. So, critical thinking in scholarship means that you actually will be able to look at the broad aspects and see the impact of everything, the consequences, whether intended and unintended consequences of any decisions, any recommendations that you make will actually have an effect. But being a critical thinker requires you to do a lot of reflective thinking. Reflection is something that perhaps we have not emphasized enough. And at IBS, AHIPS, where I am at now, we have even made action research mandatory for the DBA program. And why action research? Because action research requires reflection. So reflective thinking. Reflective thinkings mean you reflect on the situation before you go into it, as you go through it, and after you go through it. And through the process of reflection, you actually improve revise whatever actions that you have made before that. So the scholarship training, the critical training, thinking training is what is lacking perhaps in our current programs. So it also deals with emotions. Yeah, we know resilience. Okay, yes, resilience. You are able to withstand any challenges that life throws to you. But you also must have strong emotional intelligence. So it's not just the intelligence in your particular field, but the emotional intelligence is equally important. Creativity and innovation. So you be creative and also innovative, and also you must have imagination. And the last thing that I think is more difficult to train but is very critical is you must have a strong sense of intuition. That is quite difficult for us to actually train, but intuition also is an important characteristics and quality that we must have for a PhD scholar. So you don't have to be given all the facts in reports. Just by your intuition, you already know what is right, what is wrong. The ethics must also be strong in the person. So, and critical thinking is very, very future oriented, because being a critical thinker prepares you for the future, prepares you for whatever challenges that comes in your way.
Yeah, have a great, Prof. Rose. I've jotted around 8 to 7 points about the traits and the characteristic of a PhD scholar. Well, I do agree that some of these we do have in our program learning outcomes, in the activities that we plan. But I think it's a long-term process too. Somebody might graduate and obtain what you mentioned just now, the expert knowledge, the expert being intelligence in their area of expertise. But things like having emotional intelligence, being having a strong sense in intuition, perhaps goes as the individual go through the process, right?
Yes.
Of applying the
You
knowledge.
mentioned just now, you remember in the earlier part, you say mechanistic. We are too mechanistic in our process of graduating a PhD student that we lose all the finer elements.
I like the word mechanistic just now, which is going to be my next questions, which is about your opinion about us in university taking students at young age to enroll in a PhD program, graduating very early in a PhD program. What do you think? Are we producing instant scholar? All right, when we do this, and does it has to do with the scholarly traits that we are discussing this morning, Prof. Rose?
Okay, I have always been a person that argues because I have been because as you know I graduated with my double masters at the age of 21 and started teaching at ITM Sarawak when I was 21 and all my students were older than me. So this is something that I'm very, very sensitive about, just as sensitive I am to gender. Okay, so it's the age that actually because we have some people who are very, very young, but even though they are young, they are very mature. So it's the maturity that we should look for and we should examine before we admit a student as a PhD candidate. So maturity in thinking, maturity in emotion, because those things are a bit difficult for us to develop and nurture over the years. So sometimes we have experience, working experience being out there. After we graduate, being out there thrown into real life actually gives you the experience that prepares you for doctoral research. Okay, they're saying that they can't quite hear me. Is there a problem with the sound?
No, it's okay now, Prof. Rose. It's okay now. Just now there was a bit disconnection in the line, but I'm hearing you nice now.
Yeah,
Fine.
all right. Okay, so I'll
Okay.
continue, okay?
Mm.
Okay, perhaps I should take a drink because my voice is breaking because I'm thirsty.
We'll have a list of questions that we have gathered from the Facebook, but we'll let Prof. Rose to finish her point just now before we go for the question and answer session. Right, over to you,
Okay,
Prof.
back to the issue of age. So it's not age because age is just a number. But it's the person, the maturity of a person, the experience that he has, even if it is a student who's just graduated from a degree program, but if during the degree process and maybe life has thrown this person who's young in age, but has thrown him or her a lot of challenges that develop his mind, develops his thoughts, and develops his or her emotion and maturity. So I would not agree with your comment about young PhD graduate. But instant scholar, it is possible. It will be great if our PhD program can produce instant scholars. And what do we mean by instant scholars? It's not just in terms of the measurement of your publication, your in terms of how many papers you have produced. But we have to find another way, other ways as well to measure the scholarly or the scholarness of a candidate apart from the number of papers that the student has produced. And we know that the student's involvement, even if the student is a PhD candidate, some PhD candidates are very active on campus. They are everywhere helping out during any crisis, for example, during the pandemic or when there's flooding, any kinds of disaster or crisis, they are out there because they are so concerned about society. And also we have students who are very much with the industry, even though they are undergraduate students, but they are already in with the industry, collaborating, networking, and all of this develops the student that we are graduating during the 3 years or 4 years that they have with us. Okay, Hazarina.
Yeah. Okay, Prof. So I agree. I agree that age is not a number. Right? Graduated a PhD in less than when I was less than 30 years old. 30 years old, and I think through it's the experience, is the whatever that life has thrown to us that makes a person different from one another, and it depends on the take up, right? On that, and also the terms of instant scholar. Some people say that instant noodle scholar say that, but I think it really depends on the how experts you are. We have seen cases where they are young scholars who come up with new novel theory,
Yeah.
perhaps not in Malaysia yet, but in other parts of the world. But true, they are young in age, but they are expert in this area. All right, Prof. Rose, we received an overwhelming number of questions, but I have to do
Let's answer the questions.
Right. Let me begin with this is questions from Mr. Adnan Ali. Right.
Yeah.
How do you merit a PhD without philosophy?
Okay, that is a professional doctorate. Okay, I mentioned that just now. So it's not doctor of philosophy, but it's engineering doctorate, or it's doctor of business administration, doctor of the field. So it's very much concerned with practice. So a professional doctorate seeks to solve the world's problems or the industry problems, very practice oriented, but maybe not as critical for the professional doctorate scholar or graduate to be a scholarly thinker. The wisdom aspect differentiates between a PhD, someone with a PhD, and someone with a professional doctorate. Someone with a professional doctorate, because you are out there, you have to solve the problem. It has to be practical. It has to be immediate. And you cannot spend much time thinking about it, conceptualizing. So the conceptualizing aspect, the thinking over the long period implication, that goes to the PhD scholar rather than the professional doctorate graduate.
To students who asked questions just now in UTM, for your information, we also have this professional course, pure professional course offers actually. We have a engineering doctorate program
Yes.
offered in the School of Engineering, and then we do also have PhD industrial PhD, right? So
Yes.
like Professor Marcos mentioned just now, the assessment and expectation for this degree is a bit different from doctoral of philosophy, right? The second question that we receive is from our fellow colleagues here, Dr. Ramesh, right? There are some overseas university practicing only review of thesis without having the viva voce session. What is your opinion on that, Prof?
Okay, I know that Australian universities practice this. They don't have Viva, they only send, because I've examined quite a few theses from Australia myself. But I would say that it's all down to the institution, because if they don't have the formal Viva process of the thesis, they have to make sure that throughout the candidature of the student is actually given opportunities or of proving his oral capabilities, because viva is an oral process, it's an oral examination, and it's only one examination at the end of the candidature. So those institutions that only has examination of thesis without a viva better make sure that during the whole process of the candidature that they make the students actually have lots of mini sessions, presentations, participate in conferences, all of those being involved in sessions that test their oral, not just oral, because oral is connected to how you think, and that is the real examination. So not just that one. That's fine. Just trust them. So, and I trust those Australian institutions, and I've seen many Australian graduates who did not have a Viva, but I'm very impressed with the quality of these students, of these graduates.
Yeah. I think having said that, I graduated from a university in Australia, I do not have a Viva session, but then throughout my PhD study, I have a total of I graduated from University of Western Australia. So I have seven presentation session throughout my PhD study, and you can celebrate the moment your supervisor signed the form for you to submit your thesis. And if you say that no, you don't have to worry. Usually, when a supervisor signs a thesis for you to submit your thesis, you can celebrate. But I did not. I did not celebrate. I waited for the result. But just to tell that I have to go 7 presentations.
Don't celebrate.
Celebrate.
Okay, I think many of us, I don't know anyone celebrates after a PhD, Viva, even after Viva or without a Viva. You don't celebrate after a PhD. It's like you're so exhausted because of the process, you don't have the mood to celebrate.
Yeah, betul. It's true. Okay, Prof. From Lou, he asked a question. What would be the prospect of a doctor of philosophy other than in academic discipline? Do practices or the industry really appreciate the doctor title in Malaysia?
Okay, so again, I think actually PhD or Doctor of Philosophy is meant for academia. So we produce PhD to serve academic institutions, to serve universities. So then when we introduced in 2010, the government introduced My Brain 15, which included industrial PhD. So then came the question, for industrial PhD, not to serve academic institutions, but it is to serve industry, the needs of the industry. So at that time, UTM was ahead because UTM already had the engineering doctorate program that fulfills the purpose of a doctoral scholar, doctoral candidate for industry. And therefore fits the definition of what is industrial PhD. So therefore, my response to that question is that if you register and if you graduate with a PhD or Doctor of Philosophy, the best career for you would be in academia. But if you want to serve in other roles, for example, even government agencies, or you want to serve industry, or you even want to serve voluntary bodies, NGOs, but having that level of knowledge of a doctoral level, then don't register for a PhD, but register for the professional doctorate, because that is what it's meant for. Rather than the PhD.
Okay, true, Prof. Rose. I think there is a different expectation when you enroll in different PhD program. So, Lo, I do hope that the questions shed some light on your career planning. All right. We have the fourth questions. Prof. Rose, are you okay, or you want to take some sip?
Yeah, I'll take a sip of water.
Okay. All right. Just put the question number 4 on the screen. All right.
Wow.
It's a simple question, but I think it requires a
Wow.
very deep elaboration on that. What makes a good PhD student?
What makes a good PhD student? Okay. I've graduated. I think now it's 26 already. PhD students. What makes a good PhD student during the process? I always say that I was the ideal PhD student myself, because my supervisor when I was at Salford University, he was never around. He was always Professor Trevor Woodharper, a very renowned scholar of information systems, who actually developed action research for the field of information systems. Yeah, he's a practitioner, because he's a practitioner who went into academia. And because of that, he's always flying everywhere around the globe, and he's never around. But he always tells many people, Rose is my supervisor. Why? Because I manage him. So I manage him, I brief him, I contact him. And at that time, there's no WhatsApp. Even email is very difficult. But I make sure that I communicate with him all the time, wherever he is. So the first trait is always be in contact with your supervisor. Don't disappear. The worst PhD student is a student that disappears, missing in action. So always have good contact. And myself, and the thing what I did with, this is the thing, you will become a supervisor how you were when you were being supervised. So that happened to me as well, because as everyone knows, I was very extremely busy as well. Very difficult for my students to see me. So my students became my anak angkat. So, and that was how I was with Professor Trevor Woodharper. Definitely, I cannot see him on campus, so I go to his house. I have meals with him. And that is what I did with my PhD students. I invite them to the house. So what makes a good PhD student is a PhD student that has treats his or her supervisor like his mother or father. Like my students always call me Mama. They always see me as a mother. And I also, all my PhD students are my anak, because they are like my children. They are always at my house, and they can only see me at my house. So the second trait is, okay, first, you always must be in contact. Don't disappear. Second is, you must treat your supervisor like your own flesh and blood. No, don't treat your supervisor like a stranger. Don't even treat your supervisor like a teacher. Treat your supervisor, care and love your supervisor like you love your mother and father. Okay, because that is what he or she is for the period of candidature. So emotional connection is very important. So all those two are not technical matters, you know. So what makes a good PhD students are all down to the person. It's not how clever you are. Amongst my 26 students, I've had very, very, very good students, quote unquote, who can talk very well, who did their assignments, but lack the emotional part. And I've also had PhD students who are just, I would call, blur. I've had, so my PhD graduates, you have to guess which amongst you are those I consider blur. But those who are blur, not as intelligent, not as or articulate in terms of expressing your views, but are extremely resilient, committed, persistent. So it's okay. Even if you're not so intelligent, you're not so articulate, but you must be always be very, very committed to the study and be very resilient. And some people say separate between your family and your PhD. No. Once you register for a PhD, your PhD is your family is your PhD. Is one. That's how I view also my career. Say you cannot compartmentalize. Say this is my PhD, this is my family. They become one. So always make your family know what you're doing. Always talk and be proud of your work. Share your work not only with your supervisor, always tell who has an ear. Even if the person doesn't want to listen, talk about your work. Talk about your research, talk about what you're doing, because you're getting feedback. Yeah, okay. I will just put it at those 4 things because I can have a long list. Can have 2 hours to talk about what is a good PhD student. But to me, those are the important. Yeah, perhaps I can be another
very long list. We need to schedule another session for that. Okay. Perhaps the last 2 questions that we can take for this session, because I think we're running running out of time. All right, from Bola Gun. Okay, can UTM leverage on the intellectual and scholarly endowment of postgraduate, I think, for less developed country, using their scholarship for training knowledge and being resilient in the society? I think I think if I can rephrase, maybe Bola is asking about how does UTM could use this intellectual endowment for training and resilience of students and society, especially those who come from poor countries, right?
Yeah. So we have a term for this a few years back. We called, when we were developing the strategic planning document for UTM, this is what we call soft power. So soft power are our graduates who come from the less developed countries. They are our soft power. And what UTM, it is in the Envision 2025 document, in fact, because it has been always in the PGU1, PGU2 Plan Global UTM document. We leverage on the soft power by connecting with our graduates when they return back to their respective countries. We connect with them and assist them in developing their country. And I think that's already being happening. We have a few of the school, Razak school is doing some work in Sudan. And I know different parts of the world, we are actually working with our graduates, helping out to transform their communities, because our graduates have become big shots in their own country because of the PhD that they bring from UTM. They have risen up the ladder. They have become heads of companies, rectors. I know a few. I have 1 or 2 students who become rector of their universities, leaders of their institutions, government officers, government ministers. So by leveraging that connection and that networking, we can fulfill too. And that goes back to the scholar aspects, the sense of responsibility that you have towards not only your well-being, but your society's well-being, your country's well-being, your nation's well-being. That tests your ability, your worthiness of carrying the Doctor of Philosophy title. Okay, Hazarina, I think we can have another question.
Yeah, I have 2 questions actually. Okay, but before we answer this question, I think that the response from I know.
Anita is here.
Yes, we are going live to the SG group as well at the moment. Okay, but I think I just want to add up to Prof. Rose's response just now on Bola's questions just now. That is, I think it tallies what UTM is doing now, tallies with our tagline, that is prospering life. We want our graduates to go back and make changes, contribute to the society, and that way we expand this tagline. Not only it stays as a tagline, but we're really going to put it into real life setting to prosper other people's life. All right, we go back to Anita's question. All right, I believe that the rush to GOT has something to do with everyone wants to graduate fast. How does it impact on producing scholarly PhD?
Trust Anita to give such a difficult question. Okay. Okay. I have to be very careful when answering this. First, because Anita is the one who asked this, and also the second thing, GOT, graduate on time. There are always two opposite schools of thought on graduating on time. Graduating on time became one of the criteria in MYRA, in Malaysia Research Assessment. How fast you can graduate a student, whether the student can graduate on time, gives you marks for the MYRA assessment. And when we introduced, because that was introduced during my time when I was the Dean of Graduate School, and there were many criticisms. Why are we putting graduate on time? Okay, because that's one school of thought. Why we did the graduate on time? Because having a fixed time, because not everyone has the luxury of time and the funds. It was more of the concern of sponsors. Sponsors were very concerned about students not getting the adequate supervision, that they didn't graduate on time for them to return back after the period of their scholarship. So likewise, most sponsors, if the parents are sponsoring, you still have a limited. It's not like the funds are unlimited. The duration is like you can spend your own sweet time. So that's why graduate on time is very important. But this is the big part. When we push so much for the graduate on time, we sacrifice the quality of learning, and that is what is not good. We actually, because some students, some scholars actually enjoy the process of learning and would like to remain and to stay with the institution and continue the process. And that is exactly what lifelong learning is about. Okay, you finish your PhD, but you still continue with us. That means there are other ways, other mechanisms. We have the postdoc, we have the joint doctoral, joint research. Wherever you are, you can conduct research.
Doria, my question.
Other ways, but the PhD registration, why there is a minimum and a maximum, there is a reason to that. Because of the funds, and also we have to ensure that we fulfill the program outcomes, the learning outcomes of the candidature.
Okay? Correct, Prof.
Anita,
I agree. I think another aspect that we would like to look at is also in terms of human resource, right? When a students complete on time, it basically give an opportunity for other students to be under the supervision of the respective supervisor. I think we also talking from that perspective as well.
Yes, definitely. Resources are limited. Resources in the universities are limited. The resources of the supervisors, the resources of the labs, the materials. Right. We are, especially for public universities, we are being subsidized by the government. We don't have the luxury of actually, students spending for as long as the time that they want, because other students are also waiting to get into the university.
Correct. We have a questions from our friend here, Dr. Doria.
I've been waiting, Doria. Nasib baik. Wah, panjang ni soalan ni.
The question is about, are we too methodological in training our future PhD? When we start, we sort of like have a template. I think what's question is, we have to do research method, then we have to do the proposal defense chapter 1, 2, 3. So where does the thinking, EQ, intuition sits in this 3 years period time?
Yeah, ditto. You nailed it. This is the point. This is why the reason I chose this topic to discuss today. I'm hoping that the Malaysia Deans of Graduate School Council will relook, and MQA as well, will relook into the program standards for a doctoral program. I think I also saw a question, is DBA same as PhD? They're all the doctoral levels are on the same MQ8.
Level 8.
Level 8. Same level. but they are different in nature. Okay, so we have to relook in our training of our PhD students, and I agree totally with what Doria has said, as what I have emphasized. We emphasize too much on the mechanistic aspects, how to write a thesis, how to, it's all very technical and very mechanical. We spend less on developing the person, this scholar with critical thinking that we should be graduating as a Doctor of Philosophy graduate.
In other words, can we say that we are lacking of the soft skills element in our training and the process of graduating PhD candidates here?
Still, it's, you're emphasizing the skills. Skills is doing. I'm more concerned about the thinking, and the emotions, the connecting between the thinking and your heart. That is where it's lacking. We have done a lot on skills, so all the skills is all there, but we don't spend as much on developing the way you think. And it's actually the supervisor who develops the way a student thinks. So the student is shaped by the supervisor. So the supervisor is the one who shapes the way the student thinks, the way the student views life, the way the student views challenges, is all shaped by the supervisor. But we have good supervisors and we have the not so good supervisors. So we can't depend on nasib lah dapat supervisor bagus ke tidak. So this is where the graduate school must introduce a curriculum that addresses this.
Okay. I think that the last point is my home. Okay. All right. So we have about 3 minutes left. I'm just gonna take final answer before we wrap up the session. So the final answer, I'm giving an honor to the president of our postgraduate society, Mr. Muhammad Imran Ismail from SKT. And he has two questions, but I'm just going to pick up the second question because I think the first question has been addressed by the previous few questions that we had earlier. All right. I find the second question interesting. PhD students are often characterized as no life, right? Because they were too busy with laboratory work, thesis writing, and articles. Any practical advice on how to make sure our PhD journey is more enjoyable, unforgettable, and perhaps to turn, if I would add, Imran, excuse me, I add to their question, and how it would turn us to you to become a scholar, a thinking scholar, as per our discussion this morning. Okay, Prof. Rose?
Okay, so it's most important as a PhD scholar, please do not sit in the cave. You don't just sit in your cave. Cave can be your lab, cave can be your bedroom, cave can be your room, but you're not meeting people. Okay, so if I can have only one advice to give, get a life. You get a life. Get a life is by meeting people. I know. My best friend forever, Dolly Amy. She just told me last week, 2 weeks ago. I shouldn't be sharing this, but Dolly says she's happy being alone. But she's no less of a scholar, even though she's alone, because she still connects with people. Don't be a hermit. Okay, don't be a hermit in the sense that you totally isolate yourself, only focusing on your PhD thesis, only focusing on your writing, on your publications, on your lab work. Get a life means you have your family dinner, spend time with people. Okay? Spending time with people, talk about your research. Okay? Even if it is to the makcik sapu sampah ke, talk about your research. So I cannot stress that enough. Talk about your research to anyone who has an ear, even if they don't listen. Okay, because by talking about your research, you actually get ideas. By talking to people, you know what are the problems that's happening. By talking to people, you're aware of the world outside you. So don't be a hermit. Have a conscience. You can also connect by reading, but the people connection is very critical. The engagement, the conversations Conversations can be face-to-face, conversations can be through social media or other means, but have connections with other people and talk about your work.
Yeah, and I think that is a very very good advice, Prof. I think we do not want at the end of the day for the thesis to be on shelf, and we need to talk so that we know what other people is the feedback. We get feedback from other people about our research and our work that we worked on our PhD. So I think Imran is doing well. He's a very active student. He's our president at the moment. He has worked very hard for our
Yes,
conference, last ISFES conference. So I think Prof. Rose, we hit 10:30 already, and on behalf of our organizing committee, we would like to say thank you very much for spending your time with us this morning. I know that you have a session after this.
Yes,
All right.
I have a session at 11. All are welcome to join me on WebEx. The session is on paradigms. So that's related very much. So I would say that this session is a preamble to my session on paradigms of research at 11.
Yeah. I think you can see the poster about the Prof. Rose next session on our UTM SPS Facebook too, as well as Azban Hashim International Business School Facebook as well. Right. So we're going to summarize the point, Prof. Rose, and then we're going to put it on SPS Facebook to be shared with those who probably missed the session, and we try to summarize, put it nicely as a quotation. For all the participants who attended this session this morning, we would like to say thank you very much for attending this session, and to Prof. Rose once again, thank you, and Assalamualaikum from us this morning. Thank you, Prof. Rose.
Yeah, thank you everyone. I actually know most of the people who are in with us. So thank you everyone for being here with us, the two of us. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.
Okay. So Assalamualaikum and thank you.
Yeah.
Signing off. Bye. Assalamualaikum. Terbalik.
Terbalik ke? Oh, okay.
I terbalik.
Much love.